body all the time. It's a shameless experience. And I think it's really important, something that I continue to work with that has been pivotal for me is not waiting until you're someone else. Don't wait to be different. Don't wait. I waited a long time to have a different body and to have different health needs and to be, well, I couldn't wait to be younger at a certain point, or at any point, really. You know, I realized how much I was waiting and putting off interfacing with communities as I was. I was waiting to have some sort of title or have had a show, you know, or have done something significant so that I could be like, here, it's my sign, so I can walk in here, you know. I was waiting for that kind of safety, and it's okay to be real about what you're able to do. Like, I think taking classes, I found a retired professor who taught out of her home, and that was right at my edge, was being in a room full of intergenerational dancers who could all kick my ass. They're amazing. But being the one who was the least experienced there. And just going. I just showed up, and I just kept going. And, you know, eventually that led to conversations, and eventually that led to more. So own whatever place you're at. And there's no act that's too small. Was it Pete Seeger who said the world's going to be changed by many small acts? Or that the revolution will happen by many small acts. And I think that's your own personal revolution is going to happen that way. That's true for me. Consistency is more important than grandeur. It's really easy to say, I want to move to Barcelona and do nothing but dance 24 hours a day until I become a professional. Going to class, you know, when I'm tired, is actually much more useful and has built up in a way that was, you know, much more useful to me. So I think be real with yourself and choose something that is your edge, but it's something you like, something you're excited about. Don't shoot yourself down by picking something that is, okay, I'm just going to become an artist now. You know, I'm just going to become an extrovert. Like, it's okay, be yourself. But find something to consistently do that's right at your edge.
So that goes into, once you get into a group and find groups that work with you or other artists who can you can collaborate and give you feedback, I guess that builds your confidence. It makes you a stronger artist. And it also shows you some of the business of the art. Exactly. Because eventually we want to, I know some of us want to get paid for our artwork. We want to make that the type of living I live off of. Yeah. And so what does that, how does that change you, and how do you see your art career because of that? And then leading on to the question that she gave is, how do you deal with the business of the art? And do these groups help? Or is that something that you need to go find somewhere? So we'll start with Hez, and then go Ann, and then Shanika.
To answer your earlier question, I currently do other work besides dance to support myself. So that continues to be something that I supplement. I like to aim for percentages and to say, you know, like I'd like to be moving up in the percentage of how much I make as an artist. I think that one of the things, I mean, I'm experiencing right now is the residency. And Atlanta is a really great resource for artist residencies. Also other cities. Burnaway has a really great listing on their website for residencies and shows. That's been an incredible resource for me. I've definitely taken advantage of it and continue to. I think, and you were saying that Georgia doesn't have individual artist grants, but there are many organizations that you can apply to be a part of. And so I think in the same way, it's kind of like the organizational level of like dealing with social anxiety, that you being willing to submit whatever you have and whatever work you have, and you know, go with that and be able to use it. What else did you ask? Sorry, my mind totally
Because it builds your confidence, and then dealing with the business, and how is dealing with the business of art or of your art form? How does that help? And because you say you're getting paid for the dancing,
Right.
How does the group help you or build you up in order to ask for what's fair for your work?
A lot of it is understanding the specific business dialogue that goes along with things like grant writing and things that are specifically related to the arts. And that's why, for me, residency is a really great resource for that, because they help direct you to other organizations like Burnaway, like C4, Georgia Lawyers for the Arts, Wonder Root. They all offer a lot of great classes. So it's also, if you're not using university as a way to teach yourself about business, there's actually a lot of good resources for independent artists and for independent people who are doing it on their own. And I continue to use that. I think that those are great resources in Atlanta, and there's a lot to be gained from them.
And
Well, sometimes you have to just say no.
yeah,
Inevitably, if you're any kind of an artist, you're going to be asked to do your work for free, and you're going to, for the opportunity. Oh, this is a wonderful exposure. You all know that, y'all. Well, yeah, when you're first starting out, maybe it is, but after a while, you have to say no, and sometimes you don't get that job, but it's good to know what you're worth. And I don't get paid a whole lot for the things I do, but I get paid. So, except for WCA, which is love.
but being in the groups gives you that confidence
Oh yeah.
to step.
I think I'm not sure what you were asking a minute ago. It seemed to be something related to people don't understand you.
People saying that it's something, say they give you some girls for $5.
Oh yeah. Okay. The majority of people out there do not appreciate art. I'm sorry. They're perfectly happy to go to Walmart and buy a print or whatever, or the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, which is, they're pretty high muckety muck up there, and they're striking because they won't pay them what they're worth. But you just have to realize that a lot of people who aren't artists don't appreciate it, and that some of the worst people can be your family. I have one friend who had to divorce her family because they were so bad for her ego, and she has a sister who's a lawyer, all this, and she's the one that supported the family mostly. Yeah. In the community. Yeah. 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 Well, yeah. We need to bring back arts education in schools for sure, and that's something you can, write your city councilman or state whoever. It's pretty dire right now. It's not going to get better for a while unless people get active at the polls. But I think groups are, a really important way to do it. You can make things happen on your own, and you can toot your own horn. I wish I knew how to get non-artists to really appreciate it. But there's some people who they appreciate, even though they don't do it themselves. And then there's some people who don't, and I don't know if you can convert the people who. I don't know. Do you have a?
What was the question? Make sure I'm paying attention.
We kind of got off.
Well, I'm hearing all kinds of things. So,
Yeah.
so the business of art, and then what do we do about the price of art? Is that what you're saying about how much you
people who think that you get whatever you do
from Walmart?
Yeah.
All right. So what I do, if you feel like what I do, you can go get from Walmart. You go get that from Walmart.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I'm not. I've gotten to a place where I'm not going to settle and I'm not going to compromise. Oh, because I've been burnt enough.
Yeah.
I'm all for. I started off donating my work, and I still donate my work. I donate my work because it opens opportunities for me. I've gotten more doors open for me when I have given away something, more so than when I've had a collector purchase and not come back to me. So I think it's all in what you make it. In regards to pricing work, give yourself a raise. I learned that from a boyfriend who was a web developer. He was like, Shaniqua, just because you paint your work does not in a certain way does not mean you can't give yourself a raise. And so that goes again back to getting outside of the box of artists, right? So artists think a certain way. We like, I made this. If I can get this for $5, I'm alright. You know, sometimes, but that's real. That's real. And I had to learn that the difference between charging my work for $5 because somebody could go to Walmart and get it for $2.50. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it depends on what your experiences teach you. So I've had a lot of unfortunate experiences teach me some really hard lessons, and that's through galleries and through collectors. I've had galleries close up shop and walk off with my work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's a very hurtful thing. So you talking about your baby? Imagine somebody stealing your baby. All right. I had a gallery close up shop. I knew where they lived. Guess where all my work was at?
Yeah.
On their walls. We can be all day talking about my personal experiences. It has been unbelievable and devastating. But without that, I would not understand and know my worth. I would not know to walk. You know, instead of having my work at a gallery for 30 days at a time, for 60 days at a time, and not stopping by to go see if my stuff is still there. You know, going to check up on people. I've personally kind of pulled away from doing gallery shows. My focus is more so on exhibitions and selling my work online and through people who already collect my work. That's been my personal focus because I don't want to share my profits. that's just been my personal preference. I don't want to share my profits, and if I don't have to, I won't. However, through exhibitions with galleries or museums, if they request a percentage, that's fine. But I think it's different for each person, for everybody, and it's all in what you make it to be.
Yeah. Is somebody waiting to get their phone? Are we interrupting? Sorry. So I wanted them to answer that part related to organizations and collaboration with other artists, because that's where you're going to learn those answers. So we all handle that adversity differently. Each artist, each person is going to handle adversity in their way, and in the beginning we handled it wrong. If somebody tells us they can find the artwork that they're asking us to do at a different price, at a lower price with someone else, it may hurt our feelings, it may make us upset, it may say the hell with art. And I know lots of artists who were at one time in the art fields, and they enjoyed their art, they enjoyed their art form, but they did not have a support system. They did not collaborate or look for other artists. They did not look for that support group in them, around in their area, in their city, in their town. And so what happens is you get beat down so much by the uneducated buyer or a person who wants to take advantage of you, and they know what they're doing, to the point where they say, you know what, this art thing is never going to happen. It's a bust. So what I was looking for the answer to that question is not so much on how you're going to deal with it yourself, because we're all different. But where do you go? Who do you find to help you find those opportunities and handle those situations in a way that's constructive and helps you build up? Because it's easier if you go and join Wonderwood, if you join C4 Atlanta, if you stay up on what Bernaway is doing, and all these different organizations, the city of Atlanta. So what happens is when you look for these organizations and these group of artists, and they're doing some of the work for you. Okay, they're writing the grants, finding the money, and then saying we need some artists who can do this kind of work. And if you're that type of artist, then that's where you submit. That's where you go after that, because then someone is appreciating your work. The organization finds the people who are going to appreciate your work. They find the city to understand your art form, to go on the walls around the city, and all these other things. So then your job becomes just being the artist, which is a great, wonderful thing. So that's where the learning process is important. If you find a group